Hola Carlos, ¿qué tal? Felicidades por la victoria. Quería preguntarte cómo estás del antebrazo y cómo te sientes. Gracias.
Bueno, son molestias que salen bueno, viendo los pocos días que he tenido de recuperación, cuando todo ha ido prácticamente todo seguido, pues al final pues salen cosas en algún movimiento que no es muy habitual, ¿no? Y al final, pues bueno, hemos intentado tranquilizarnos a nosotros mismos, intentar pues seguir y bueno, y sobre todo pues ir como más relajado sobre todo al segundo set y a ver qué pasa, ¿no? Ahora pues me valorará el fisio, hablaremos con el equipo y veremos a ver. Pero bueno, yo creo que son unas molestias que ya he tenido previamente, que nunca han llegado a nada más, así que esperemos que esta vez sea igual.
Carlos Alcaraz raises concerns at the Conde de Godó with an injury. The player from Murcia, leading 5-4 in the first set, requested medical assistance because his right wrist was preventing him from returning comfortably. At the end of the match, he confirmed those pains. Carlos Alcaraz is already in the round of 16 of the Conde de Godó, but the Murcian advanced with bad feelings. He struggled a lot to close out the first set against Otto Virtanen, ranked number 130, and raised all the alarms on the Rafa Nadal court when he requested medical assistance with the score at 5-4 in his favor in the first set. Something in his right arm was preventing him from returning normally, and the Finnish player was increasingly putting him under pressure. After receiving the appropriate bandage, which he quickly covered with his wristband, the player from El Palmar finally managed to break his opponent's serve to take the first set. The second set was a different story, but Alcaraz still did not look entirely comfortable, remaining imprecise at times, such as when, with a 2-0 lead, he allowed Virtanen to recover the break. Fortunately, Otto quickly ran out of steam and began making errors, handing the victory to the Murcian, who sealed his place in the round of 16 without much trouble. He will now have 48 hours to rest and recover from discomfort that will need to be examined later this afternoon in order to find a solution before it worsens. In the round of 16, another tough opponent awaits him, the Czech Thomas Mikák. Carlos Alcaraz explains his discomfort at the Conde de Godó. Alcaraz did not hesitate to explain what had happened at the end of the first set. Asked about the possible injury, he was clear: they are discomforts that appear. I've played many matches in a few days, with very little rest between matches. Coming here, with all the travel and limited preparation, in the end always causes small issues that you have to try to manage as best as possible. Now when I leave, I will meet with my team, my physio will assess it, but I think and feel it's nothing serious and that we will be able to go out on court on Thursday. Will Carlos Alcaraz push himself to become world number one again? After seeing how his debut went, the question is inevitable: will Carlos push himself if the discomfort in his right arm continues? The Murcian is clear about why he came to Barcelona this year. Or at least that's what he made clear before his match against Otto Virtanen. But he cannot forget that Madrid and Roland Garros are just around the corner. I've seen that I have to win the tournament here if I want to regain the number one spot. The battle for number one that Jannik, Sinner, and I are having is very nice and is probably extra motivation to win here. However, Alcaraz made it clear that leading the rankings is not his main objective, but rather to follow the path and keep improving in order to be even more competitive. He has also not hidden the admiration he feels for Sinner, who serves as a reference to help him evolve as a tennis player. He is one of the players who makes me aware of my weaknesses and makes me better every day. He has also not hidden the admiration he feels for Sinner, who serves as a reference to help him evolve as a tennis player. He is one of the players who makes me aware of my weaknesses and makes me better every day. After his impressive debut against Jaume Munar, 6-1, 6-2, Rafa Jodar will take center stage this Wednesday, 1600 hours, on the first of the two round of 16 match days of the Barcelona Open Bank Sabadell Trofeo Conde de Godó. Karen Khachanov, world number 14, was supposed to be his theoretical opponent, but the Russian was far from his level and lost, 6-3, 6-4, to Camilo Ugo Carabelli, number 64, who will now face the Madrid-born player, 19 years old. Jodar recently crushed the Argentine in the semifinals of Marrakesh, 6-2, 6-1, the prelude to his first ATP title. I don't set expectations for myself, I just have to focus on myself. There will be expectations, but I will try to focus on my own game. I'm still the same person whether I win or lose. I will try not to pay much attention to expectations, said Jodar. I don't put any pressure or goals on myself. You have to go step by step and follow your own path without comparing yourself to anyone. I shouldn't put extra pressure on myself because it doesn't lead to anything. I feel very good and everything is happening very fast, but I still have a lot of room for improvement, added Rafa, now ranked number 55 in the world and rising quickly. A year ago, he was number 911. The Madrid player's explosive breakthrough on the ATP circuit has not gone unnoticed, not even by Spain's leading tennis figure, Carlos Alcaraz, who is also impressed by the young compatriot's rise. For me, Rafa is a great player. I've been following him and I think he entered the circuit very quickly. He had the opportunity to be a sparring partner in the Davis Cup, and I was able to train with him and see what he was capable of, said Alcaraz in the press room at the Godó Trophy. Then in Australia this year, I played a practice set with him and could see even more of his level. What he has achieved from Australia until now has been impressive. I'm very happy for him because he seems like an exceptional guy both on and off the court, with incredible values. And above all, he is very calm. I wish him all the best. Whenever he plays well or gets a good result, I try to congratulate him, added the Mercian. I think it helps him a lot that there are other very young players his age also breaking through, like Martin Landalus, who for me is also an impressive player. I had the chance to train with him before going to Monte Carlo. The two of them will help each other keep improving and moving forward. They have a great future, he concluded. Jannik Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz will aim to maintain their dominance in the Grand Slams next month at Roland Garros, where they headline a strong list of participants for the clay court tournament. Both starred in one of the matches of the century in last year's Paris final, after Alcaraz saved 3 match points on his way to a memorable comeback in the 5th set. Together, Alcaraz and Sinner have won the last 9 Grand Slam titles, including Alcaraz's victory at the Australian Open in January, when the 22-year-old became the youngest man to complete the career Grand Slam. Sinner will attempt to match that achievement by winning all 4 Grand Slams at least once, with Roland Garros being the only title missing from his resume. Alexander Zverev, runner-up in 2024, and Novak Djokovic, 3-time champion, are also on the entry list for the 2026 edition of the clay court tournament. Djokovic, runner-up at this year's Australian Open, will aim for an even greater prize in Paris, where he seeks a record 25 Grand Slam titles across men's and women's tennis. The entry list includes all top 10 players in the PIF ATP rankings, including Felix Auger-Aliassime, Ben Shelton, Alex de Minaur, and Taylor Fritz. Last season, Lorenzo Musetti became the first Italian to reach at least the semifinals of all 3 ATP Masters 1000 clay tournaments and Roland Garros in the same year. He won the first set against Alcaraz in their Paris semifinal but retired due to injury at the start of the 4th set. Daniil Medvedev completes the top 10 list for Roland Garros, where his best results remain 4th round appearances in 2022 and 2024. And that's it for today's video, a really intense one with a lot to unpack. What started as a solid performance from Carlos Alcaraz ended up raising some serious concerns, especially with those wrist issues that forced him to take a medical timeout. Even though he managed to get the win and move on to the next round, the sensations weren't the best, and now all eyes will be on how he recovers in the next 48 hours. Because let's be real, this isn't just about one match. With big tournaments like Madrid and Roland Garros just around the corner, every small discomfort matters. The big question now is whether he should push through and fight for the title here, or play it smart and prioritize his long-term fitness. Knowing Alcaraz, he's a competitor who always wants to be on court, but his team will definitely have a big say in what comes next. Also, don't forget the bigger picture, the battle for world number 1 is heating up, especially with players like Sinner pushing at the top. That adds even more pressure and motivation for Carlos to keep going, but at what cost? That's what makes this situation so interesting. So now I want to hear from you. What do you think? Should Alcaraz keep playing and go all in for the tournament, or should he take it easy and focus on what's coming next? If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to drop a like, thumbs up emoji, subscribe, bell emoji, so you don't miss any updates, and turn on notifications because we'll be following this story very closely. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.